Chapter 54-68. 5:12:20. She only glanced at Arbor coldly, and a cold smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. This smile made Arbor's heart skip a beat. He stared at her face, his eyes extremely cold. "This person is a person of heavenly fate," Arbor ordered lightly. "Take her away first." Nia Yaoguang's smile just now made Arbor somewhat uncertain. She was so calm after being caught, and after her identity was exposed, she was neither arrogant nor rash. She did not make a fuss or make a fuss. This abnormal phenomenon made Arbor immediately think that this woman might have a backup plan. Could it be that she had already buried something in the city that could be detonated? Once she was caught, the entire Dragon Flame City would be buried with her. But on second thought, Dragon Flame City's defense array had long been activated. If there was anything wrong, she should be able to receive the news immediately. Now that there was nothing wrong, this meant that Arbor's heart still skipped a beat. As if thinking of something, he hurriedly turned and said, "Return to the palace." She was not in the mood and did not have the time to deal with Su Hegua and the others. Moreover, this matter was so strange that it gave her a bad premonition. What's wrong? Little Pao, Fong Su, and the others felt their little junior sister's nervousness and could not help but become slightly nervous. Little junior sister just said that Princess Su Hegua's maidservant was a person of heavenly fate. Was Su Hegua innocent? Was it related to heavenly fate? Although Su Hegua's Princess Su Yi immediately revealed a shocked expression, it did not mean that this matter had nothing to do with her. All the personal maidservants were people she trusted very much. How could she choose someone she was not familiar with? Therefore, this Nia Yaoguang should have been by her side for at least 3 months. After 3 months of contact, how could she not know Nia Yaoguang's true identity? Who was she kidding? Moreover, what was the purpose of this group of women coming to the capital this time? All of this was probably what Jojo was having a headache about now. Su Shanshan hurriedly took her little hand and comforted her gently. "Don't panic, everyone is here. Let's return to the palace and discuss this with the Crown Prince first." Arbor nodded. She thought so too. This matter was urgent, and there was nothing more important than discussing it with Mo Lien. Because she had thought of something that she had to tell him. Old concubine Su broke into a cold sweat. Seeing the little crown princess leading a group of people to leave in a hurry, her tense mood eased a little. This was truly a trip to the gates of hell. Old concubine Su only felt that her clothes were wet and cold. Being blown by the cold wind, she felt even more comfortable. She turned around and glared at Su Yi fiercely. She also felt a little resentful towards her in her heart. After all, she had not seen her maternal family for so many years. He didn't expect that his grandniece would hide such an important matter from him. Her maternal family had never revealed to him that Su Hegua had already defected to Tianyun. Old concubine Su was in a cold sweat. Fortunately, when she received the news, she immediately rushed out of the palace to support her grandniece. In the end, she ended up like this. The crown prince and his wife hated Tianyun the most. This time, it was estimated that they would blame her. Thinking of this, old concubine Su couldn't help shivering. Without saying anything to Su Yi, she turned around and was helped to get on the carriage. She went back to the palace as soon as possible. She had to explain the situation to His Majesty before the crown princess complained and get herself out of it as soon as possible. Chapter 54-69. Grand Consort Su rushed back in a hurry, but Arbor was also burning with anxiety. How could she have expected that Grand Consort Su would play the blame game and run to His Majesty to complain first? She directly returned to the Eastern Palace to find Jojo's Lien. Fortunately, her Lien had already returned to the palace. When she saw her rushing in like this, she hurriedly reached out to support her and asked curiously, "What's wrong, Jojo?" "Mo Lien, I thought of something." Arbor looked at him with a serious expression and said, Tian Yun has always had a very formidable curse practitioner hiding in the dark. Now, I have reason to suspect that he's already hiding somewhere in our city and just hasn't come out. Mo Lien held her hand and paused. You suspect that Black Cat and Chu Qingfei's master, that great Master Yi, is already in our city? Arbor shook her head. No, I suspect that it's that mysterious hall master of the charm hall. I'm guessing that he should be Tianyun's final trump card. The mysterious hall master of the charm hall. Mo Lien frowned slightly and thought for a moment before saying with a nod, I'll have people search the streets and alleys and house by house. I won't miss a single inch of land. If he's hiding somewhere, he'll give himself away every time we check. Arbor nodded pensively. I encountered a group of women on the street today. Do you know who I discovered? I heard that you went to the city gate to welcome the senior sisters from the Holy Water sect. That's right. Oh, that's right, I arranged for the senior sisters to rest first. When we bring second Master back later, I'll let my master out to meet them. Arbor pulled him and said, Don't interrupt. Do you know that when I was fetching my senior sisters, I met an acquaintance? You definitely won't be able to guess who she is. Mo Lien didn't have any interest in any acquaintances other than his wife. However, seeing that his wife was in high spirits, he couldn't bear to dampen her spirits, so he hastily asked, Who? Nia Yaoguang. Arbor tilted his head and said, Look at how powerful my eyes are. When I glanced at her, I felt that she looked very familiar, so I forcibly pulled her out from among more than 200 veiled women. When the little stoic said this, she was rather pleased with herself. I removed the transformation talisman on her, and guess what happened? Mo Lien looked down at her in amusement and said naturally, Nia Yaoguang has revealed his true colors and exposed his identity in front of everyone. Arbor punched him with his little fist and snorted. You're so smart that you know everything. I'm not talking to you anymore. Mo Lien, he was in the mood to play along with his beloved wife, so why was he being scolded? I told you I have a good memory. The little stoic spoke with conviction. She turned around to glare at the crown prince and said, Don't think that you're the only one with a photographic memory. Right. My Jojo is the smartest. The crown prince nodded repeatedly and reached out to ruffle her hair. He beckoned for Yuba and the others to come in and whispered a few instructions before pulling Arbor to sit down. Jojo, did you get angry with someone today? Arbor nodded and said huffily, There's actually someone with the same name and surname as me in Suhugua's group. I was so angry that I couldn't help but want to hit her. Saishio and Saichi, who were standing on the side, couldn't help but twitch their mouths silently. Oh my, their crown princess. They clearly heard at that time that girl seemed to be called Xiao Xiao, not Jojo. Besides, it was just a name that was similar. Where did the same surname come from? Chapter 5470. I restrained my emotions and restrained myself from hitting her. That's too infuriating, Jojo's Ren, the little stoic said with a taut face. I didn't expect Qin eldest Omega Kotoku to be so treacherous and cunning. She purposely created these people to disgust me. She even purposely made one of them use my name. The little stoic was enraged, and her beady black eyes widened. I really didn't expect them to be so despicable and shameless. It must be because I usually get supreme pleasure from beating and scolding that Jojo. It feels like I'm being abused. The crown prince? What should I do about my beloved wife's persecutory delusion? Why did this matter involve Qin eldest Omega Kotoku? What should I do if I think those two were just a bit wronged? Would I explain it to the crown princess? I won't. It's better to make the crown princess dislike Qin eldest Omega Kotoku even more. They know that I dislike that kind of veiled saintess the most. My life experience tells me that I should just hit the saintess whenever I see her. Why did I feel like laughing? The crown prince, yet they still had to name her Jojo and dress her up as a fairy saintess to purposely disgust me. The more Arbor spoke, the angrier he became. He slammed the table with a bang and said furiously, "You don't know how angry I was at that time, it practically burned. Saishio and Saichi, His Highness the Crown Prince, this won't do, I have to do my best to stifle my laughter." The Crown Prince the Great was very clear that if he burst into laughter in front of his wife, then he would definitely be dead for sure. Did you know that Jojo's run was too infuriating? Arbor's small face was cold as he tried his best to keep a straight face and huffed, "My rationality told me that I shouldn't vent my anger on that maidservant. But my emotions seemed to want me to act recklessly." Arbor sat upright and still as he looked at his husband expressionlessly. "I tried very hard to restrain my emotions. In the end, I restrained myself from beating her. There's no point in venting my anger on her. The ones I should beat the most are the culprits, Professor Chin and Omega Katoku." When Crown Prince heard this, he immediately nodded vigorously. He didn't feel sorry for big Omega Katoku, who had been innocently shot. Instead, he continued to push the plot forward with all his might. "Jojo, you did very well today." Not only did he control his emotions, but he also had a clear mind. He analyzed the situation thoroughly and found the mastermind behind it. Not only have you exposed Nia Yaoguang's true colors, you've also seen through the phenomenon of this incident. That's right, it's Omega Katoku that's hurrying over to annoy us. Your analysis is correct, very correct. Seeing you so calm, I feel very comforted. Mo Lien's handsome face was taut as he spoke. At the same time, he extended his paw and gently stroked the little stoic's hand. Kai Xiu and Kai Chi were speechless. "Crown Prince the Great, is it really appropriate for you to say funny things with such a deadpan expression? The Crown Princess's train of thought is so bizarre, so why do you have to follow her and go crooked? You're afraid that the Crown Princess isn't crooked enough, so you courted disaster by leading her crooked and crooked sprinting with her, letting your thoughts run wild. This really isn't too appropriate." The little stoic sighed and clenched her small fists. Big Qin and Omega Katoku have launched an all-out attack in the kingdom of Qingzhou and may have sent many people to infiltrate our capital. You mustn't lower your guard during this period of time. They may take the next step at any time. The little stoic stood up and paced back and forth in front of Mo Lien with her paws behind her back. "You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.